Project Transformers reactivate. Alright, boys. Let's get in it. Where have I been? What's been going on? What is this? Okay, so obviously we know Transformers reactivate. Well, it's no longer with us, boys. But, you know, in vain of its essence, which was basically to bring the community together and have an easy way to play a modern Transformers game, I thought, you know, why not take that essence, take the name, take the structure, and let's do that for the games we have. I say have, that is the point of this video. Have and have not. Most people can't access the game because just of like ease of use isn't really there. I mean, it's not like you could just go on Steam, buy, download and play, right? You have to be able to get a copy of the game. You have to be able to get it up and running in the game. And then multiplayer is a whole different like finagling system. And it's like, oh, I don't have maps. I don't have DLC. It's a vice versa. So, and you know, even if it comes down to that, do people even know about the game? The younger generation, have they even played? I mean, Bayverse is getting quite old now, and these games tied into that lore, and the fact that these games have been delisted for so long, not to mention a lot of new people just, I mean, not only did they never get to experience it, they never even knew they existed, and now they never even had the opportunity to play it legitimately, right? Wait how you want, right? So, what is the goal with this? Well, this is the pre-prod version of Transformers.Games. So again, Transformers.Games, thanks for the support. You guys absolutely loved it. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed. I have taken on feedback. So we got a little bit of updates, But the main portion I'm sure you're seeing on what is this, bro? Transformers launcher? Huh? Yes, that is right. So we got a big updates coming, boys. So this is the whole project thing, basically. Remember when I said ease of use? That is kind of the point here. I want it to be as super easy as possible. Be able to get the games, boom. Be able to get the multiplayer running, boom. Escalation running, boom. Just ease of use setup to be able to just download, play, right? Get straight into it. No finagling, no nothing. Just an instant way. 'Cause, you know, it's about allowing access, right? Because not everyone's super techy. Not everyone wants to get involved with that. It is what it is. So that is kind of the goal. So again, you guys wanted like 07. You guys wanted Revenge of the Fallen. Boom. They're being added, boys. They're being added. They're on the way. Okay. We also have, so this is pretty cool, by the way. So I was already just thinking, you know, I'm just going to put a screenshot of the launcher here, but I actually recoded, or I implemented and coded a visual mockup. Basically, it's not one-to-one to what the launcher looks like, but that's because translating it from like a desktop app code to web-based codes is not exactly the same thing. Blah, 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 technical babble. Yeah, so it looks pretty close, but I just thought this was cool because you can actually interact with it. You can search stuff in here. I mean, if you find anything, let me know. So, yeah. To pause on the launcher, though, we'll get back to this. This is really exciting, and it's what the second half of this video will be covering, but I quickly want to cover over the rest of the updates coming to the Transformers.Games site, because obviously, well, this has changed to what it is on main branch at the moment. So, we have, boom, 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 Mods Hub. Yeah, this is new. So basically this is going to be a second version. Basically, if you don't want to use the launcher, because I don't want to force anyone into using the launcher, I just thought it was a good idea because it keeps everything in one place for a new user, or even existing users at this point. But basically, obviously we've got mods here, but you can just go here and get your mods. You can sort this by game. So you have Transformers Warfare, Full, blah, blah, blah. You have all the games. So obviously there's not many mods for like Transformers the game, but like Full of Cybertron and Devastation have loads. You have your tags. You can just click here or up here. You've got your filters here. You can also just search for, I don't know, Optimus. Boom. And then you've got, we can sort that by Devastation. So you've got two here. Full of Cybertron, a bunch. So yeah, that's simply how it works. So you can just go get like your mods here. Boom, boom. Send you direct to pages. So mods, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's just another easy way to make it. So if you come to the site and you already have a game or whatever, or you've already got the launcher and you want to look for mods and you don't want to look inside the launcher, you can just come here. Obviously, to today's date, this is the entire like published mods that I could find. So obviously from here, they'll have to be updated. But you know, you've got a pretty good selection there. Next, we've got something that's pretty cool. This is something I've been working on in terms of like my roadmap for Project Transformers Reactivate. So again, when I'm saying like I want to make it as easy as possible for people to be able to like get in and play these games, getting in includes like the lore, includes the story, because a lot of this stuff is so old at this point, or it's just like not really like easy to come by. Like a lot of people just don't really talk about it, you know. And if you think about like a new fan coming in and playing the game, maybe they don't understand something, right? They can take, maybe they're just looking into the games in general. So basically, we've got like a pre-base lore. We've got lore per game as well. So War for Cybertron, Full of Cybertron, Rods, Devastation. But not only that, so let's go to say Fall of Cybertron, right? You have it per faction, so you can do like the Autobot, and you can see events that are predominantly Autobot side and Decepticon, right? So you've got like the Fall of Cybertron and the Nemesis Pursuit. So that is persistent across all the games and the base lore. Not only that, you can search your timeline. So if you're looking for something specific on these timelines, gets that real quickly. But the main core cool feature I thought to add was basically, let's go to Wolf Cybertron, boom, the interface. This is something pretty cool that I ended up cooking up. This is basically, as you can see on screen, it's basically a massive like database pool. It's a chatbot database, basically. Think of it like an interface terminal. That's kind of how I visually structured it. So basically you got like Vector Sigma here. And what you'll notice is War for Cybertron database. Now, pause. Let's go over to Fall of Cybertron. Interface again. Oh, it's a Fall of Cybertron. So you have a terminal per game to basically like talk about game lore. Say if someone's not understanding a certain portion or wants to get more in depth on some events, right? They can basically come here and ask away, and they should get like general answers in terms of what they're looking for. But not only that, you can see AIs up here. So obviously Vector Sigma, this is meant to be basically your like game master level view, right? So think of it like an overarching overhead view, nothing specifically faction based, but faction, as you can see, Teletran 1, all right? This is basically if you want the historical records, and again, this is per game. All 3 AIs are per game. You can have it from basically the Autobot side, right? You can see that perspective on events. So you can get an overarching view with Vector Sigma. You can get an Autobot side for Teletran 1. I'm sure you've seen where this is going. Oh yes, Nemesis. So we've got the Nemesis core. This is basically like your intelligence network for the Decepticon side. So if you want it from the Decepticons' point of view, in terms of their records and stuff like that. So that means you get 3 different perspectives for all of the games, which I just think covers all bases, right? Because if you're looking for something specifically related to like the Decepticon campaign or the Autobot campaign or events from Autobot's side from the perspective of the Decepticon side, etc., or if you want an overarching view running from Vector Sigma, you have that. So you can literally just type in here, ask your questions, boom. You can turn off type if you want, it's just instant. I just thought gives an option, right? If you want to like speed type it, go ahead. So that's that's the lore timeline section. I thought this was pretty cool, and again, it's just another way to get people into the games, right? Like, let alone getting someone to play them in the first place, if they can understand lore, you know, maybe bridging the gap from people who are interested from a lore perspective, a story perspective, this gives them a deeper way to interact, right? Think of it of the equivalent of, like, basically looking up, like, your favorite game's lore, or, like, stuff like that. It's basically another way to funnel people into the older games and that franchise and the understanding of that continuity. Obviously, there's probably more goes into depth for me, would be like War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, and obviously, I guess, like Rods and Bayverse into that integrated timeline. That's probably where I would probably lean towards. That's probably my favorite. Mostly like War for Cybertron and Fall. Just with like the Great War and the Great Exodus, that's probably my like niche I would go in towards. I find that the most interesting. But you know, if Rod's Devastation, I do plan on adding the other games as well. So yeah, from there, okay, we've also got Browse for Library. This will be covered. Basically, this is our fallback. Or if, say, you don't want to use the launcher, you can still just go to the site and get the games. I don't want to take that away from anyone. I don't want to have it be like, oh, you've taken away the direct downloads and now I have to use the launcher. No, you don't have to use it. It's just there for ease of use, basically. Because you'll see it's quite nice what I've been cooking up. So basically, these you have all your games. They're listed by like PC delisted and emulated. Reason being, you're like Dark of the Moon, huh? Yeah, but like this would be a PS3 emulation or Xbox 360 emulation, right? And this would obviously be PS2 with the Transformers PS2 game. Because obviously this isn't native PC. And Dark of the Moon, the only way it's going to get done is if it's done by, I don't know the tool name, but I know there's a way to backwards recompile Xbox games that are decompiled and then recompile them to PC. It's something along those lines. I know it was done I think it was done by the Sonic community, if I recall. But if anyone does that, basically that's the only way we're going to be able to get like a native running port-esque for basically Dark of the Moon. So until then, basically, the Dark of the Moon and these two, they're going to have to come later because I'm going to have to flesh out how like I explain and visualize emulation and stuff like that. Future guides, basically. But these ones are all just direct downloads, by the way. So if you click like War for Cybertron, you'll notice it'll just open a tab, give it a sec, boom, direct download. So you don't have the page, it's just a one click. And you have these, and then I'm just going to cancel that for the time being. But yeah, basically you can go in here. Obviously search isn't really useful right now, but obviously in the future, the project of like Project Transformers Reactivate, fleshing out the entire series and stuff like that, we will have more and more games. Like I'd love to get like basically like TFU, TFO, TFR, all those basically games pending future endeavors type stuff. So yeah, that's basically what you'll go for that. So again, I'm not taking away the original premise and core of the site, so the original video doesn't really become obsolete in terms of if that's the structure you wanted to go by. But the launcher I think is the coolest thing. So again, that's the site. I guess we shall move on. Okay, so desktop time, we have Transformers Reactivate chat. Okay, so I'm going to pause my background music and then we're going to open the app. Boom, Transformers Reactivate. Boom, we got the launcher, baby. That's what I'm talking about. This has been something that I've been cooking up for the past 3 months, along with the site updates and stuff like that, and just gathering feedback and just road mapping basically features. So we've got a lot to explain here. I know my simple launcher, but this is pretty cool. Okay, pretty cool. So we got War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, Rise of the Dark Spark, Devastation, the 07 game, and Revenge of the Fallen. And now, what you'll notice when you originally get the download is, yeah, we have music, we have theme, so per game. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave that for now. So quickly cover settings, so you can set your music in here if you want. You can mute it in here. We'll cover these two in, we'll just cover it now. We'll cover it now. We'll cover it later. So basically, boom, you have each of the game. So we shall, let's say, you've just opened the launcher, right? You pick your folder, wherever you want to install it, and then we just click download. Boom. Download is going to clock over. Boom. And now it's going to start. So let's talk about some of the features while this goes on in the background. Basically, we have our overview, right? So this is like about the game, some details, right? Some system requirements, if your system's not running it. I mean, hopefully people can run it at this point. Just some off links. And then we also have our mods. So mods in here, boom. You have mods integrating the launcher. Again, this is basically, remember how I said it was meant to be like the ease of use, right? I want people to be able to like get these games and play them up like off the rip, right? Just make it as easy as humanly possible. Everything in one place, right? So you have your mods. You can go here, get all the mods. You can search your mods, boom, boom, and then help is basically just like some saved open, some help, blah blah. Help is pretty self-explanatory to say that. Now, if say for instance you already have the original setup game from either Transformers.Games or your archive version, you've just got, or you've got your Steam versions. This works with the Steam versions, with the exception being War for Cybertron. War for Cybertron, I can't seem to get to launch via its Steam integration into this launcher. I don't know why. It's the way it's like Steam's game ID doesn't really like it, which is weird because Fall of Cybertron, right? Fall of Cybertron on Steam, it does work. I should know. I have both of them, so I've tested all of them. Like, I've tested these, and the Steam versions, the only one that doesn't seem to work is War for Cybertron. I don't know why. I've tried silently calling it, blah, blah, technical babble. The Steam versions work, and all of obviously the what do we call it? The archive versions. Yes, for YouTube demonetizing me. But yeah, the archive versions work, and obviously you can see the downloads cooking along. It's cooking along. You have a progress bar here, so you can see. Obviously, this is going to vary based on your internet and stuff like that. You can move the window around, so don't worry. I mean, you minimize your exit, blah blah. Also, look, the icon. The icon's pretty cool. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so if you want, you can pick your folder, be that your Steam version or you're already set up, and it'll find it, and then you'll be able to hit play. You can also uninstall. So we'll look at this afterwards after this done. Now you notice when this clocks over to 100%. What it's going to do is it's going to show another progress bar, and it's going to be verifying. Verifying is basically extracting it. So you're going to see it change right now. And what do I mean by extracting it? Well, that follows into install from a file. So when I'm verifying, it's extracting, it's doing it fairly quickly. Obviously, this is going to depend on system spec, because obviously it is extracting the file, and depending on the size, some of the larger games like War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron might take a little bit longer, and it depends on your system spec. Again, boom, and play. So as we can see, that's gone, and if you hover over play, boom, you can see exactly where it has installed. It's in my tf.games inside of my D drive, and it has created the Transformers game, and it's found the exe within that nested folder. So if I click play, that would load the game. Now, with that being said, if I uninstall real quickly to show you, this also, the uninstall does actually uninstall the full game and the original directory folder. So if you do make, like, say, TF Games right here, boom, if I uninstall it, we'll actually delete that folder as well. So it gets rid of everything. You don't have to worry about it leaving, like, files behind for game installs. That's fine. Now, install from a file. Install from a file. This is basically to counteract the edge case scenario I ran into that I did not expect, where people didn't understand you had to unzip the game files. I'm going to be honest, that one I did not think I would have to factor in. I'm going to be honest. So, but I have. So basically, if, say for instance, also the downloads, by the way, when Transformers.Games originally launched, it crashed. Basically, my download server provider crashed because so many of you goobers were trying to download it. And it was like that for the first month. And I know a bunch of people like upset or like couldn't get it and was confused, but there was just so many of you, it crashed it. Like, there's nothing I could do, to be honest. Especially through that way of hosting. Even if I was to run direct downloads, which I've run through this, the problem is if my quota gets hit, I'm either going to have to pay through the ass to scale downloads, which, no offense, can't really be doing that. But basically, if this hits quota, and basically if too many of you little goobers try and download off launch, which might happen when we launch this and it goes public, or goes live per se, there will be a fallback. You'll get an error pop here, and it'll basically tell you what's going on. So if the servers are uploaded, it'll basically say, boom, the download servers for this game are overloaded currently. Please go and get the Proton link, right? This is basically our mirror download. It's the exact same portion as going to the Transformers.Games site and downloading off there. That's exactly the same thing. So basically, we now have fallback downloads. So in case we do hit quota and basically crash my download server or get rate limited per se on user downloads, basically we have a manual fallback. So that's why this is here also, because it means when you download the game, as you saw before, when I cancelled it, it was a zip. I have put it in zip format. So now when you install from a file, you click the zip and it'll go through that verifying and it'll unzip for you. And again, it will find the directory path and it'll find your exe and you'll just be able to click play. Now, with that being said, in terms of, let's think about this. You said, all right, I want to be able to get the games easy, right? But you also want to be able to play them easy. What does that mean? Well, for games like War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, right? That means multiplayer, or including Rise of Dark Side. Basically, multiplayers within the games, right? So what have I included? Well, we also have a feature that I've basically decided to package update the games with. I basically like bulk patch them, per se. So basically, you have an updated color set for War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron that come with max level multiplayer escalation accounts, right? You start off with basically everything. So that means even if you're brand new coming in, you're not going to have to go into multiplayer and get wasted by some like level 25 max level sweat, right? You're not going to have to wait in terms of testing stuff. Now, I know this may be a bit controversial, right? But at the same time, it's like, have you ever played all of the modded COD titles? There's a reason there's unlock all, right? We want people to be able to come in. We don't want them to have a bad experience. We want them to be able to try out everything, right? And again, the games are decades old at this point. If we're going to try and up the multiplayer player base, we've just got to make it as seamless and easy to get into as possible. And again, that is the point of the Project Transformers Reactivate. Make the games as easy, accessible, and just streamlined to play for people, right? Because that's the problem. There's just not many easy, accessible way. Like, again, we can't go to Steam. We can't just get them on the store anymore. So this is kind of the replacement for that. All right, it's the hub. So again, War and Fall of Cybertron, you get max level accounts included. Okay, boom, that's one. Now, for War for Cybertron, I'm also including the definitive DLC mod, which basically comes with all of the DLC maps for multiplayer and escalation, and with updated texture fixtures for some of the maps, which basically just fix some bugs, basically. So again, you get full DLC maps, you get to explore the entirety of the game, you get the full campaign, and you get full multiplayer extended with DLC. So that means everyone will have DLC, everyone have all of the jazz, easy peasy, that's nice. I've also included, for instance, in War for Cybertron, I've included the fixed holograms for Starscream in Chapter 1 by default, and I've also included the fixed playable character textures, which basically just fixes like low-res textures. With that being said, there is a caveat with this. If you are playing in 4K or above, basically, to my testing, anything above 2K or 1440p, the textures bug. I've tried upscaling with like 1.5 and 2x. So I've been playing at like basically like 3K and 5K. The textures bug and will always be like super low res blurry. There's just nothing I can do about it. So basically, you either have to play like native up to 2K, and 4K I don't think works properly. Maybe it's different with 4K 16:9. So just bear that in mind in terms of, I say textures are fixed, you're playing on 4K and it kind of ruins it. So again, I'm not trying to go out of my way to like do a modded experience for everyone. I'm just trying to make it super easy to use, right? So that's why those are the only two, right? I haven't included any of these custom type mods because that's personalized to the user experience. That would basically be detracting from the original game experience. I'm just trying to keep that. So I feel like these two, it's just some texture fixes and some multiplayer maps. Fall of Cybertron as well. I think I include high quality textures and lore brawls leg fix. So again, it's just to bring the experience up in terms of like, just some little fixes here and there, and then having the accessibility extended to multiplayer for all the DLC stuff. Plus that definitive DLC mod is really, really good, right? Shout out to the community for the mods as well. So again, and if not, you can mod your own experience. The color sets also have backups. I have single player one backups, and I have multiplayer backups for the colored sets in the based files within the packages. So if you start playing around with that, you can see them there. Again, that's more targeted to more technical users, so we'll just gloss over that for now. But yeah, so obviously Devastation, Urg 7, and Revenge of the Fallen for now. So that's what we'll have on all these. As you can see, the color themes, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so basically that's how the games will function. So again, your Steam version should work, exception being War for Cybertron. I can't get it to call properly. You get all the multiplayer maps and everything. And one cool thing, the only thing you're going to have to do to basically get the multiplayer up and running is your reg key. Your reg key that you'll get from Warehouse to connect to their servers. I couldn't package that in for, I'm going to assume, obvious reasons at this point. But basically, it would be my own multiplayer account. So I can't really do that. But that's the only thing that's missing. So basically, you'll drag that in to like your exe directory. And then what this will do, which is really cool that I managed to code in, is basically when you launch the game, a lot of you who have watched the multiplayer guides or have played multiplayer already know that you then have to start up your reg key, and it's really, really annoying. And not only that, Fall of Cybertron specifically bugs out if apparently you skip like the splash screen load-ins and stuff like that. Apparently there's just a lot of bugs with it. I don't know why this is happening now. I don't know what's changed, blah, blah. That's a Warehouse issue, not me. But I have found a kind of workaround fix, or at least for this is working for me. What I've done is if you add in your reg key into your files to play multiplayer, and you go through the launcher and click play, what will happen is I managed to add in, this is so cool by the way, a silent load for the reg key. So when you typically have to like agree to your reg key and it's really annoying because it's a Windows pop-up and stuff, like I just silent load it now. The launcher silent loads it, you never get to see it. So again, it's that ease of use experience for new people to get in, because when they see like a reg key and they're like, oh, what on earth is this? You know what I mean? That's scary. So what this does, it just silent loads it on the back end, and it does it after the game started. Not only that, but I found I can now skip the start screen for Fall of Cybertron, same with War for Cybertron, and I can get in the multiplayer, it's fine. So if anything, what it's done is, I don't know why this is a thing, or I don't know if it's just a me thing. It could vary depending on the user, but for me, I've been able to get into multiplayer just clicking play and having it silent load while my game is loading up in the background, and it just works. I haven't had an issue where my multiplayer servers haven't like been able to pop up, which I had a lot when I was manually doing it through the regedit. So again, I won't harp on this point too much, but that's just another cool feature. And it's another way is basically you add in your reg key, and every time you click play, you don't need to find your reg key in your folder, your desktop, your downloads, nested in some folder somewhere from 50 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like, it just works basically. Not only that, but so for instance, Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron, I have packaged in the TFC installer. So the TFC installer, if you don't know, is basically what a lot of the modern mods run through now for easy install, which is how I've utilized it to install some of these pre-packaged mods anyway. So basically it means if someone comes in and they're new and they see mods, oh, I want to download mods, boom, 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 then they open the mod page, right, or they get from Nexus, they can download it, and you already have TFC inside of the directory just there. It's just there. It's that simple, that easy. They don't have to go looking for it somewhere. It's already pre-packaged, and so they can already get to the game, play multiplayer, and if they want to mod some campaign stuff with it, boom, they can instantly start modding. They've already got the tools. They just have to get the mods they want, right? So again, another cool feature I thought was like just neato to add. Also for War for Cybertron specifically, I have it packaged with the FOV and FPS unlocker. So when you play the game, we'll test this out in a bit. Basically, it'll pop up the game, silent load your reg in for the multiplayer, so the multiplayer just works on launch, how you'd expect it, but it also launches up the FPS and FOV unlocker. So that means every time you click up the game, you don't have to go searching for that program. It's pre-packaged in. I have it within the root folder of the games directory, and it just pulls, it opens it up. And then all you have to do is set the FPS you want, set your FOV, and yeah, you just basically like click back into the game and it'll all be ready set up for you. So again, it's just making that experience better, right? Obviously, I couldn't really do that for Fall of Cybertron because Fall of Cybertron, if you uncap the FPS, it bricks it. There's no FOV adjustments outside of using the widescreen mod, but that's a separate program. Let me know for any feedback, by the way, for any of this, the site, the launcher, all of it. If maybe you'd want me to package the widescreen installer, though obviously that is a separate piece of software that gets updated, where I'd say obviously stuff like the Fall of Cybertron FPS and FOV unlocker don't, it's kind of just been around for ages, it doesn't really get updated. With that being said, so yeah, settings, let's cover this quick. So again, obviously legal notice, build version. So obviously as builds progress on live and production servers, as rollouts come, that's how we'll do that. Let me know if you want like an actual, like an update button that will just post out. The main thing I had with this as well is I want it to be like local. I want it to be offline accessible. I don't want people to have to be always online to play these games. That's a future like roadmap thing, is to basically, if I can, reverse engineer the multiplayer servers, so then I can package in a way to start up a local instance for people to play on like offline escalation, offline like multiplayer private matches, and maybe somehow have that link up to basically, I'd assume that would link up to LAN, since it would be starting on a local instance on a local network. That should, in theory, function that way, because that way we can fully preserve the multiplayer. And since we have all the DLC, right, it just allows everyone to have an offline experience. So the launcher, again, this will work offline. It's not meant to be online, which is why I don't have update functionality built in. I just thought it was kind of redundant. But maybe you guys let me know for feedback. So what is this? I'm not gonna lie, this is something kind of unrelated, but this is something I was working on. So basically, if you type Energon, this is basically just a little gacha game inside, so you can just roll and open some packs. You literally just type Energon and you get multiple packs. Right? So it's as simple as that. So you see we got uncommon, some commons. Let's see if we get anything. Let's live pulls. Oh, no way. That's foul, chat. That's foul. I can't believe we got all commons. Let's go for a Big 10. Big 10. Okay. Boom. Oh, okay, we got nothing. Anyway, so we have basically a pack system, so we can see our entire collections. We have a collection here. So as you can see, I've already got some legendaries. I've got Macronus Prime. I've got Nova Prime Corrupted. You have your full cards. You've got abilities, description. Yeah, I may have spent some time building this out. I doubt anyone, maybe you'd be doing this while you're waiting for your friends to queue up, you know what I mean? So you have your rarity, you can filter, we got some epic, we've got a fair few. You guys should see my dev account. My dev account has like almost all the legendaries. I didn't spawn them in, I swear. As you can see, trade-ups available. So let's go back to packs. We've got our trade-up system. Or you can also just reset your collection, by the way. So you can see I'm like 44% complete. So we have multiple trade-ups. So we've got some uncommons we can trade up. Boom. You just need, so you need 4 trade-ups for an uncommon. And basically it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in terms of like the rarities you can see up here. So then we trade up. Boom. We got some trade up. Let's see what we get. We got a Devastator. We got a Devastator rare. So boom. You can see they're all color-coded. They're all, got the collection mark. Yeah, this was just something cool I was doing. I've probably spent way too much time in my dev build playing this. So yeah, you can also just show your trade system immediately if you just want to do some trade-ups real quick. Boom, let's just do that. Oh wow, we got Stealth Mirage, boys. Let's go. Yeah, so also you can just default your filters to say we just want to filter for legendaries. Boom, we just go in here, collections, and now it's immediately put on the legendaries tab. So, if you're just, if you're surfing, if you're like your last few legendaries and you want to see what you got, blah, blah, etc. That's how that works. So again, that was just something interesting. Yeah, so in that regards then, you have your overview, you have your mods, you have your help, you have your games, you have the downloads, we have the error and the fallback, we have uninstall, we have pick folder and install from local file if you've already got the game pre-set up and running. If you need to download the zip and then be able to do it, you have your local install right here. You have all 6 games by default. And then what I'll show you is that the multiplayer does work straight out of the rip. So let's click play and boom. As you'll see, it launched my frame rate. So let's uncap that and set my FOV. And now the game's cooked in. Let's see. So let's just skip the intros. Hopefully this isn't bad. Oh my god, that is a very loud chat. Very loud.
Roll out.
Oh, music is probably the one I want to change. Yeah. So let's just do that for now. Sure, I'll turn subtitles on. So game, boom. And now you see, I haven't done any reg anything. We're doing this live. We're doing it live chat. Let's click multiplayer. Must be logged in. Yep. So it's not asking for. Oh, look at that. It's already got my profile. So again, it stealth loads in the reg. So it's just working. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't see anything. There's no pop-ups. You guys saw the only pop-up was for the FOV and FPS unlocker, which I set, which means now I can load into multiplayer. Boom. And as you can see, max level account. I have everything. I can create all my characters, you know, all that jazz, right? And if you want, you can just do prime mode, and then it's like prestiging from COD in essence. So you can do that if you really want to like restart the grind type stuff. You got your challenges, your leaderboard, your XP, obviously max level characters just to showcase you. Private matches just work. So let's just go into that, and then we can see like maps. We've got Seed of Corruption, we've got Metropolis, Horizon, Sector, Havoc, Fortress, Gorge. Like we have all of these. So let's just let's do we'll do Metropolis. Screw it. So let's just start this just to show you that private matches and all the multiplayer fully works. I'll just showcase this real quick, and then we'll load into Escalation just so you can see that works with the maps and stuff like that. So I guess we're spawning on the Autobot side. So you see you got your classes, so I don't know, let's go, may as well go Scientist, you know what I mean, the go-to class. Oh, I'll have to show you as well. So when we load in, what you'll notice is click 9, I say that, boom, there we go, there's the FOV. I don't know if you can see this, I got my video overlay, it might pick up. I'm running this game at like 240 FPS, so as you can see, FPS works. I've capped mine to 240 because that's the refresh rate of my monitor. And there's, I'll just note it here. In terms of like updates on inputs and stuff like that, if it's like a little bit laggy, what you'll want to do is cap your frame rate via like either the NVIDIA control panel or the app. Because this game registers inputs based on FPS. So if you have a high fluxing FPS, or you have basically unlimited FPS, you might notice that things tend to stutter or break. And the same with like, bounces and stuff like that. If you do bounces or like physics bugs and stuff like that, if I don't get stuck, that can cause issues via FPS in terms of like this game, and I think same with Fall of Cybertron to my knowledge. Yeah, all of this works. So as you can see, boom, 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 just gap people, zzz, well, that all works. So again, so obviously you can see the multiplayer maps work. They're updated. The definitive DLC working. It's working, right? But you know, let's just test Escalation real quick. Boom, in. Just host a game. Yep, easy, quick. So again, we have Broken Hope, Static, Pulse, District, Forsaken, Remnant. So let's load into. I don't know. We'll do Pulse. Pulse is a good meme. Sure, we'll do Air Raid. So again, this should load in properly. I'll take my overlay off real quick. Who knows if you guys even saw it. So loading in, as you can see. Oh god. This is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, loading in, boom. As you can see, my FOV is still the same because again, you just have to activate it once. And that's about it. Look at these little guys. Look at them up. You can see that all works. You can see all the interfaces and that work. So again, thanks to the definitive DLC mod and all those fixes and stuff like that. But again, that means you'll be able to just, all you have to do is get your reg, and then it silences this, and you'll be able to play with your friends, Escalation, whip it up, you have all the maps, everything works. Like, it's just that simple. In terms of testing as well, I have tested Windows 10 with Intel and NVIDIA. I've also tested Windows 10 with AMD and NVIDIA, and then I've also tested Windows 11, which is what obviously I'm currently on your seeing. So I've tested that with AMD and NVIDIA. I'm getting wrecked, chat. So this is why you don't talk and speak. Look at these little goobers. No, I can't be dying on video, bro. That'd be bad. Oh, I'm cooked. I'm cooked. Anyway, so yeah. Basically, I've tested for everything NVIDIA across 10 and 11 with Intel and AMD CPUs. So I know that it all works. Obviously, the exception being I haven't tested with AMD, right, GPUs. So in terms of that testing, I know a couple of people had problems in the past. You guys are going to have to kind of like fix that, and we'll see. That'll be iterative improvements going on, right? And then obviously campaign, solo campaign. I've kind of started mine, so you can see, but blah blah. Again, the game's kind of just they're working, they're cooking. And yeah, that's kind of basically it, to be honest. The launch is pretty cool. You can see all the understand like the features in terms of the rollerback, the site update with the lore integration, all the mods integration. It's basically just making everything super easy, and that's basically the project. If you have any feedback, if you want to join with the project, if you've got any ideas, join the Discord below. Give me a like, give me a sub. I'd appreciate it as we go forward. And hopefully you guys just enjoy the games, and the rollout will be coming soon. I just want to get everything ironed out. I just wanted to get this out, get some feedback, see if there's anything maybe that I was just missing, that I've kind of like tunnel visioned and, I can't really see from my perspective. So again, kind of just let me know, and I guess we'll call it there. So yeah, guys. Peace.